Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. My name is Lexash. Today I'm going to be sharing my entire process of editing from the beginning of the picture, from color grading to retouching and back to putting finishing touches to the images. So today I'm using this picture of iFan that I shot a while ago. And yeah, I'm going to just be putting you through what my process typically is. So as usual, the first thing I do is I go to the I enable profile corrections and remove chromatic aberrations, just so that I know the picture, I can see the picture fully and see exactly what I'm working with. The second thing is, since I'm here, I'm just going to sharpen the image. As I told you in my previous tutorials, I like to put my sharpening at the middle, and sometimes I mask, sometimes I don't, and it's not necessarily going to do so much because I didn't enhance anything more than what's already been there. This is what it looked like before, this is what it looks like after. It's just pretty straightforward, simple, sharpening process. Up next, I'm just going to take down the saturation of the skin just a little bit, and then darken just a little bit. So now I noticed that this image has like a very warm tone to go with the the warm tones that we work with, that I had in mind for the original image. So I really like the white balance there, but just to enhance the skin a little bit. I know that it doesn't look like it, but I'm just enhancing the skin just a little bit, and that's what I just took the temperature down a little bit. Yes, and then I want to add a little punch to the image, so I'm going to take the clarity up and also dehaze the image as well, so the shadows are a bit stronger. Take down the blacks so it's a bit stronger even more. And then I'm going to soften the highlights just a bit, take up the shadows, and I think I like what it's looking like right now. What next? I think I want to enhance the greens. I want to make it a little bit more teal because that's a color that I like consistently with my images. So I'm going to move the greens towards blue a little bit and take the teals towards blue a little bit, just so that it has that more cyan teal look. And look at what it looked like before, what it looks like right now. So I'm really excited about this. Right now I want to add some warm color to the shadows just to give it a little bit extra this is looking great. Can you see that? This is without it. Sorry, I'm gonna put that. So this is without it, this is with it. It's just adding a little bit of warm or yellowish feel to the shadows. And just to balance that out, I'm going to add just a little bit of blue to the highlights, just so it feels a bit more balanced. And with that, I'm just going to take the warmth down towards red just a little bit, so it has this whole vintage and at the same time modern look. And I think I am pretty satisfied with what it looks like right now. There's nothing too crazy about it. And I'm taking it over to Photoshop at this point. So Command E to open Photoshop, and Photoshop has opened now. That's the image. So the first thing I think I want to do is to I use frequency separation a lot for my retouching, and that's what I'm going to do right now. But before I do that, I want to really eliminate this. The wall is showing the background of this image, so I'm going to eliminate it by selecting the area. I'm going to use the the clone stamp, content aware tool, and just select this whole area like this to the edge. So I'm very careful not to include his outfit, just so it doesn't. And then I press delete, and when I use delete, it's basically just saying, because it's a locked layer, I'm saying that I want to fill that place with something else, and I'm specifically choosing content aware, so it's samples the entire image and replaces that place with something that is similar to what's in the background. So just say okay to that and allow it to work for a brief moment. Yeah, that done. The next thing I'm going to do is to clean up the remaining area that I wasn't able to fill in. So to do that, I'm going to zoom in and go specifically to that area, and then use the clone stamp tool to sample the area around. I'm trying to increase my brush here. Okay, increase my brush here, and then just take from this area and like just fill it in. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Increase the brush a little bit more, then sample from a more. Yeah, and that's just pretty much it. It's simple, it's very simple, very straightforward. If it's bigger and the model is not that close to the background, then it's much easier. You can just select using the marquee tool, rectangular marquee or circular marquee tool, depending on what works better for you. And then you go ahead and just, so you can see that I'm selecting very close so that it can be easy, seamless and smooth, and like nobody, like once you see, I think the best thing about Photoshop is, or the best thing about the work that has been done on an image is when the person looking at it does not particularly see like any work has been done. Like if they can see that any work has been done, then except you're doing something like except you're doing photo manipulation, it should be seamless, it should be easy, it should feel like there isn't any Photoshop or any work done on it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply my frequency separation action. If you want that, please comment below, I'm going to share it with you. Prince Mason also has some amazing ones for sale, so you check that out. But for me, I can, if you want me to share my frequency separation action, I can share with you. Just comment below and I'll share it with my next video. I'll share a link with my next video. Yeah. So yeah, because I'm particularly going to choose somewhere around 5 or 4, and the reason is because his face doesn't fill the frame a lot. So I get a lot of people asking, why do you use a particular radius for your retouching? And the reason is simple. The closer the person is to the camera, the more they fill the screen, the more details you can see. So the higher the number of the higher the radius to reduce the details. So you're taking away the sharpness and the textures from the low frequency by using a higher radius for your blur. But then if it's further away, there's not as much detail, so you want to reduce your radius. So I know a lot of people do not know this, but this is the key to keeping your textures intact, to keeping your image not looking plasticky. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. So I think 4.3 is fine, and yeah, that's it. Once I finish with that, it automatically creates the high frequency layer and everything is set, as you can see. So the first thing I'm going to be working on, I want to first work on the background. Now the reason why I'm working on the background is with frequency separation is because I want to retain the colors, I want to retain the texture of the background, but I want it smoother. So instead of working on them and making it extremely flat and lacking character, because we use the fabric for this, I want that fabric texture to remain. So the reason why that's the reason I'm doing the frequency separation, so I don't remove the texture of the fabric. So right now I'm going to work with my mixer brush to smoothen out the background texture. Yeah, so there you go. The texture, the beauty of this is that the original texture of the fabric will remain if you do it right, but then you can clean off all the wrinkles and squeezes that come with it. So I'm going to speed this place up just so that you see, you can just watch it and so we don't waste any time. One thing I'd like you to note is the fact that I'm not dragging from shadow to highlight. I'm trying to preserve the folds of the clothes to a certain extent, just in a very nice way. So the places where the bends, the clothes creates like some extra depth, I preserve those. So for example, this shadow right now, I'm not going to take it out. I'm just going to enhance the transitions between the highlights so that it doesn't look as much like a wrinkle as it does at the moment. So it just feels natural. It feels like the cloth is still there. If it's just flat, it feels like maybe a paper backdrop or just a flat surface that is not necessarily interesting, and you might as well just use a paper backdrop to get that. But in the since we used the fabric, we wanted that extra dynamic depth and texture that comes typically with fabric is what I'm trying to preserve. Yeah, and there you go. So this is what it looks like right now. I'm going to show you what it looked like before and now after. So this is what it looked like before, this is what it looks like now. Now it may look smooth, but if you look closely, you see that the texture is still there. It still looks like fabric, it just looks like ironed fabric. I still want to clean up this place a little bit more, so that was what I'm going to do. And up next, I'm going to now do some color work on the skin as well. Yeah, so I'm going to speed this up as well. If you notice, I take time to zoom in and zoom out of the image just so that I get a good sense of what I'm doing, both from a closer point of view and a wider point of view, just so that I make sure that I'm not overdoing it or moving things out of the way they're supposed to be. So now I'm going to be working on the high frequency layer to remove the blemishes, and just like before, I'm going to speed it up a little bit just so you see and this doesn't take too much time. Another thing to note is the fact that I'm trying to keep the texture consistent, so I move in the direction of the skin. So for example, if you look at the lines on the forehead, they are horizontal, so instead of drawing upwards, I'm also following it and going horizontal, so that keeps the texture consistent across board. So when you're done, you can use the mixer brush to just even out the places that the high frequency clone stamp to emphasized. So if there's still some color left, you can just even that out with the mixer brush. And yeah, this is looking great. I'm really excited about what it looks like right now. I'm going to zoom out in just a little bit. Right now I'm just still taking out some of the other things that I may have missed. Okay, and then I'm zooming out just a little bit to see what it looks like, and as you can see, the texture is still there, the colors are still consistent, nothing has really changed except the fact that all the blemishes are not pronounced anymore. the image looks more seamless, more, and it retains the character of the person in the shot. Yeah, and just to put a finishing, so I want to also clean out the shirt and the tabletop, what's it called, to smoothing them out a little bit. So that's on the mixer brush, low frequency layer, and I'm just going to speed this up a little bit as well. Don't be afraid to undo stuff that you think you've overdone, because sometimes we get lost along the way and like maybe over smoothing something or do something to the point where we lose the texture. Don't be afraid. Like at the end of the day, take your time, make sure that what you're doing is good, and over time you get better and you'll be able to see things faster, you'll be able to do things faster as well. So yeah, this is looking great. Let me just yeah, I'm pretty satisfied. I wanna take this out. Alright, great, and that's pretty much it. A personal secret, I add a little bit of portraiture to my low frequency layer, and the reason why I use it on the low frequency layer is because it's more of a color thing for me, so I don't overdo it, and I do it only to add some punch again, maybe a little bit of contrast, a little bit of warmth to the image as well, and that I did on lower frequency layer so it doesn't affect my my textures at all. I do it on the low frequency layer so it doesn't affect my textures at all. And yeah, once that's done, it kind of adds a little bit of punch to it, and as you can see, this is the before and the after of the portraiture. And then at this point I merge the image and save it. And yes, that's pretty much how I color grade and retouch my images. I'm going to put a few finishing touches on to it in Lightroom, back in Lightroom, just to finish it up. So let's go back to Lightroom now, and it has saved. You see it now. Let's give it a moment. There we go. It's loading. Loading. Yeah, there we have it. That's what the image is. You can look at what it looked like before. This was before we took it into Photoshop, and this is after we took it into Photoshop. So now I'm going to clean up the eyes. You can easily do that here in Lightroom by going to your brush layer, go to teeth whitening, and I always take the saturation out because I don't want it to be too much. And then yes, I reduce my brush just so it fits it, and then there we go. I clean up the eyes just a little bit just to preserve its whiteness, and if I see that it's too warm, I can take the temperature down a little bit and do that, and just to preserve the original eye color. Then after that, I'm going to enhance the iris to bring out the colors and how the eyes, just to make sure the eyes are popping a little bit, and then to do this, I'm just going to do iris enhance. And then what I do is I increase the exposure, increase the temperature, because most of us in this side of the world, we have like melanin in our iris as well, so that gold brown look comes out more. Then I also bring up the shadow just ever so slightly, and here we have it. The eye tone. This is very simple, very easy. You don't need an action for this, and easily do it in Lightroom. And you can see this is what it was before. Done. We're gonna see before and after. That's the eyes, that's the eye work. If you want, you can even like sharpen the eyes just a little bit. I'm going to touch on this and increase the clarity, increase the texture just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And you see what we have there now. This is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. And yeah, that's done. You can see what the full final image is, and you are good to go. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm going to be sharing way more as much as possible. My hope is to do at least one video a week, so please try to hold me to that. I'm going to do my best, even if it's just editing videos. Sometimes you're going to see my face. I'm going to talk and share my learnings with you. Sometimes I'm going to be doing behind the scenes videos. Yeah, so as you can see on the left side of my screen, I have a lot of presets that I have been working with and I've built on over the past couple of years. You can see some that I also got from the internet. Yeah, if you want some presets, I have some presets selling on my website. They give some really cool effects. As you can see, different kinds, black and white, vintage looks, classic looks, some to give like interesting feels, and various kinds. So if you want to get some, you can see some creative presets or some pictures. And the thing about my presets, they work for every kind of skin, they work for everybody, but they are specifically created also to work amazingly well with dark skin. So if you want to get that rich luxe look with your images, you can just go ahead to my website at lexage.com/shop, and you'll be able to see some of my presets. I'm also going to link it in the description below, just so that you have an idea of what is possible with my presets. All right then, thank you so much for watching. Till next time, it's Lexage. Peace out.